What's up guys, it's Dan here. Welcome back to another episode of Guitar Talk. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to. Roll that intro. What's up guys, welcome back. So today we are looking at the Harley Benton ST-80FR electric guitar. Checking out the specs at the body on this, obviously it is in this lovely, bright, vibrant red color. It is an American basswood body. We've got Tesla Plasma Alnico 5 pickups, a Floyd Rose 1000 trem system, volume, tone, there's no kind of coil splits on there, and a three-way switch. Heading over to the next side of things on this, there's a lot to go through compared to the body, which was pretty straightforward. So it is a Canadian roasted maple neck, which is also a flame neck and flame fretboard, which looks absolutely stunning. We've got the truss rod wheel exposed at the bottom here, which is something I always say that should be on every single guitar these days. We've got the Floyd Rose gubbins, Jinho tuners, 22 stainless steel frets, which have been rolled right in at the edges so they don't come right to the edge of the fretboard. We've got rolled edges on the fretboard as well as the sort of aluminous inlays on the side. So if you're playing in the dark, these should kind of light up a bit so you can see where you are. It is a 25.5-inch scale and a 12 to 16-inch compound radius fretboard on there as well. Sounds and tones that you can get out of this guitar. So obviously with the name ST-80 and the look of it, it's obviously like it's aimed at that kind of 80s rock tone. I would say kind of Van Halen-y kind of sound. I know they do like a one pickup version of this as well. That kind of like BC Rich gunslinger kind of sound. It does that really well. Like the bridge pickup is nice and bitey, it's nice and aggressive, it's still full sounding, it doesn't sound cheap. For a guitar at this price point, which we'll go into in a minute, quite often you see companies cheap out with like a cheap ceramic pickup in there, but these Tesla Alnico 5 pickups, I don't know what the output is on them, but they certainly sound nice and full, nice and toneful, and above the price point of this guitar in total. So bridge pickup, if you want this kind of 80s tones, even like 90s Alison Cheney kind of tones, this does it really, really well, exceptionally well. The neck pickup, if you kind of want to go into that sort of like clean, chorusy, process kind of sound, it handles it very, very well. It's a really nice, warm sounding, full sounding pickup, and the in-between sound is really sweet as well. So are you going to get classic Strat tones out of it or Tele tones? Definitely not. It doesn't do that, and there's no coil splits or anything. But in terms of if you just want a really good quality sounding, straight up rock humbucker tone, this guitar completely excels at that. So in terms of build quality, I'm just going to kick this off by saying, like, I know there's channels out there and stuff with influencers and like reviewers and stuff where they get given stuff and, you know, we'll send you this if you do a review on it and say it's amazing and you can keep the guitar, like all that stuff. I am not one of those. I am honest, I take pride in being honest. Even if they gave me this guitar, which they didn't, by the way, we bought this with our own money, we bought it from Thomann, full price, all that kind of stuff. They didn't know they were sending it to us for a review or anything, but I take pride in being honest, and if something is good, I will say it's good, and if something is bad, I will say it's bad. And I have had plenty to say in the past about bad guitars, which are even more expensive than this one. And this is like 350-ish pounds you can pick these up for. And some of the stuff that you get on this guitar is absolutely astounding. Like the quality of the wood on the neck and the figuring and all that kind of stuff. Like there are guitar companies out there that charge a lot more money than this, and you don't get a neck that feels as well finished or that is just as nicely figured as this neck with the rolled fretboard edges, all that kind of stuff. Like, I know there's a bit of a myth about rolled fretboard edges and all that, but like it does just feel really comfortable, no kind of sharp end to the fretboard, where they've taken in the ends of the frets and rolled them off really nicely so they don't come right up and stick out if there's any kind of shrinkage or anything like that. The compound radius, all that kind of stuff that you are getting on this guitar in terms of build quality is absolutely astounding and puts so many companies to shame for what they charge for their guitars and the kind of like issues that you get out of the box. Now, don't get me wrong, there are issues with this guitar. So obviously you've got stainless steel frets, which to most people means, oh, they're gonna be like super smooth, really durable, you're gonna skate all over them. And I'll see if my mic can pick this up. I don't know how well you guys can hear that. My mic's over there, I'll just try that again. These frets are rough. They're a bit sandpapery. They are definitely not glassy smooth. They need to be finished properly. We might get G to do that before we send this out, but obviously being stainless steel, there are different qualities of stainless steel. Like, just because you've got stainless steel frets, it doesn't mean that all stainless steel is equal. So, you know, there are little corners that have been cut, I would say, to get the price down. And normally, I would absolutely rip a company to shreds for bringing out a guitar that's got frets that are that kind of rough sounding. But those kind of companies are guitars that are companies that are releasing guitars that are £800, £900, £1,000, £1,500. At £350 for how good this plays and how, like, the quality of all the other materials, like slightly gritty frets, I'll let them get away with that. I don't mind that at this price. It's not a, like, you can hear it when you're like, you know, playing acoustically and you can kind of feel it a little bit. But when you're kind of in the heat of the moment playing and you're playing through like a loud amp or anything like that, then you don't notice it and you can't hear it through the amp or anything like that. So for the price point that this guitar is at, I think that is acceptable to do a little bit of extra finishing on the frets. The rest of it, there are a few little bits that feel like the Floyd Rose system, the thumb wheels on here feel a bit cheap and not as well fitting as some Floyd Rose systems. But for the most part, the build quality and materials and everything that you are getting on this guitar at this price point are completely out of this world. So in terms of what you're getting for the money and how well it's all been put together, I can't fault it at all. So setup on this straight out the box. I got it out of the box, I tuned it up, I stretched the strings in, I tuned it up again, I locked it down, I gave it a fine tune, and everything is pretty much where it should be for an average playing guitar. It's not got the lowest action in the world. It could probably go down a bit more if you wanted it to, but in terms of like an average playable action, this just straight away is where everything should be. The intonation was in. There's nothing to complain about here. The frets, as I say, in terms of setup, if you're talking about finishing on the frets, yes, they are a bit sandpapery and could do with a little bit more polishing to them. But in terms of like the rolled edges to the fingerboard and the rolled edges to the actual frets themselves, that has been done amazingly. And there was no having to rebalance the trem or anything like that. So out of the box, just being able to stretch the strings in and tune it up and then just play it straight away, all of that absolutely perfect. So just because I am not the shreddiest player in the world, with the nature of this guitar, I know there's going to be people out there that are going to be like, oh, you should play shred on it, you should play a million notes. So what I've done is I've roped in Andy to shred away. Andy, come in here, shred us up. Get out of here! Is the guitar worth the money? So this is around, I keep saying 350. Let me have a look and see. I'm going to cheat on camera and see exactly how much this guitar is. So today, the full price of this guitar is £389. So a little bit more than 350, but still at £389, it absolutely puts to shame some of the like more well-established, I mean, well, Harley Benton's pretty well-established these days, but some of the bigger, higher end, higher name companies, like the big three, I guess you could say, for what they charge. And even if you look at like Epiphone these days, where they're bringing out guitars that are like £1,500 and stuff, like this absolutely puts to shame how much they're charging for those guitars. There is a bit of a like cheap guitar revolution, I think, going on at the moment. There's companies that are coming out with really well spec guitars. I think there's a company, Artist Guitars, I've heard of, which people are making a big sort of song and dance about at the moment, of like how much their guitars are and how well spec they are. This is just another example of that, where the kind of spec and quality you're getting for under £500. Like if this guitar was £500, it would still be worth it. If it was £600, I still think it would be worth it. I don't know a lot of people that would, when you look at the name on the headstock and you see Harley Benton, you go, £600 for a Harley Benton. That's where it kind of starts to fall apart a little bit, because they've got a name for themselves as a budget brand company. But if it didn't say that on the headstock, if this said like Charvel on the headstock or Jackson or something like that, and it was $899, I think people would still absolutely love it and they would be willing to pay that for this guitar. So the fact that you're getting this for under £400, is it worth the money? Yes, absolutely, it is definitely worth the money. Would I play one of these guitars live? And by that I mean if I was going on tour, I had a run of gigs and stuff, and you gave me one of these and said that you can only play this guitar and you can't play anything else, like maybe you can have two of them, would I be happy playing this guitar live? Yeah, I would. I would absolutely. They do it in black as well. I might prefer the black. I mean, the red is very vibrant and very cool. It definitely kind of screams that kind of like 80s kind of like vibe. But like, if you gave me the black one of these and said, go out on tour and play it, and I had 2 of them because some of the songs we play are in like drop D and stuff, I would have no problem playing this guitar and know that I'm going to get some fantastic tones out of it. There's some kind of stuff that I play which you kind of want that kind of Telly-esque tone, which this isn't going to do. But is it going to sound good playing those kind of songs anyway, even without that Telly-esque kind of tone? Yes, you're going to get some fantastic tones out of this. So would I play one of these live and be confident that it's going to get me through the gig and that it's going to sound great doing it? Yes, I would. Is there anything that I don't like about the guitar? Honestly, I guess some people get really annoyed at me when I say the phrase "at this price point," but honestly, like at this price point, like would I like the stainless steel frets to be super smooth and glassy? Like yes, I would. Would I like the thumb wheels to feel a little bit more reassuring? Yeah, I would. But at £389, I would be happy to go out and buy some nicer feeling thumb wheel. I would be happy to give it a polish myself or pay someone like 70, 80 pounds, whatever, to go through and finish these frets off perfectly so they are nice and smooth and glassy. Like I've got no problem at that price point doing that, and I would expect to do that at this price point. So in terms of like, is there anything that I don't like about this guitar? No, there's not. I really, really like this. I would love to see some more colors rather than just the red and black. Maybe they'll expand that over time with these takeoff. But in terms of like, as it is there anything I don't like about it? No, there's not. It's got a really nice neck profile. I really, really like this. So there we go, that is the Harley Benton ST-80FR guitar. I would say like if you come across one of these in shops, then give one a go and try it out and see what you think. But obviously, because it's Harley Benton, pretty much the only place you're gonna find one is in Thomann in Germany. So definitely not something you can just go down to your local guitar and just pick one off the shelf and try one out. But if you see one secondhand, definitely pick it up and give it a go. If you fancy taking a punt on something under £500 and you want a bit of a rock machine, then yeah, give this a look. And hopefully if yours comes out the box as well as this one did, then you are gonna have a great time with it. Have you got one? Have any of you got some and there's been like issues with them or anything like that? Are they all just as good as this one out of the box? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. I would love to know. And other than that, as I say, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.